Okay, I think we are live for episode 72 of the Tru-Mon Show with Mr. Arthur and Madame Fiona from Australia directly. How are you guys?
We're well.
Sorry about the delay. I just went off and got some hot dogs, mate.
Yeah, that's going to be a good show.
Just want to keep up with the footy, mate. Just see what was going on out there.
Yeah. Today, Arthur, I named the show Born Dead with Life because what I realized and made sense of is really our free will has been broken. And until you wake up and realize that, you will always be under that slave mentality, that system that you have to at one point get out of the dead, and even when we say fall in love is wrong, because you should rise in love. We should all rise and not fall, but we are so much in the fallen state that we fall in love. After summer, it's fall. I realize all this. It's like, wake up. We have to rise and shine. I think that's but anyway, that's another thing I made sense of, is we have to get out of that fallen state. It's getting us so profound in the darkness pit of evil stuff that, hey, come on, something has to be done. Something has to be said, say somewhere. We have to speak out. So that's what we're here.
We'll have a choice to live or to die, exactly. And it's what we do in our everyday life, that we're either living or we're dying.
Yeah, because see, if we can breathe, we can live. Right? And every lie is death, because the lie is the thoughts in our heads, the alphabet thoughts in our heads, the inculcation. And while we give our energy to these thoughts, we are lost to our sense. We can't sense anymore, because our sense defines, well, you don't like using definition, but it defines our true consciousness. So the fallen state is into the nonsense of ABC 1, 2, 3. So every thought in your head that's alphabet based are not yours. And the time that we entertain these thoughts is our death to our soul. It's the death to our sense. It's death to our consciousness. And that death is destruction. And this is why we see the whole of the system is destruction, because it's built out of nonsense. You can't sense ABC 1, 2, 3. So, for example, innocent children not exposed to the system, innocent children who have not been educated by ABC, where can they go in nature or go anywhere across Earth to learn about ABC 1, 2, 3, right? Without someone already brainwashed having to explain it to them, right? This is pseudoscience. Now, you can't go and learn about mathematics anywhere in nature, because nature does not teach you mathematics, because mathematics is the nonsense, it's the explanation, instruction, education, suggestion about a definition, right? But those definitions are not your dreams. So when you accept the education of an explanation, and this is what we go back to the first video, we see with our eyes, we are looking with our eyes at everything that's true. And we're talking about uncorrupted reality, uncorrupted nature, right? What we see is true. But because of the explanation in our head, we are learning to disconnect from the true big picture of our sense. We can't sense the big picture anymore, because we're only seeing the explanation. So we have died. We are the living dead, because we are lost in the nonsense of the dreams of others who explain to us what we see or what we hear or what we smell, you see. So we have not been given the bigger picture. And no one can give you the big picture, because it's a natural thing that happens if no one messes with us and interferes with us. So if we're not being Frankenstein, we're free.
And also, Arthur, because they cannot sense the nonsense, they cannot sense your intention. Also, a lot of people, that's what it is.
That's what people have. So, we're going to, look, we've got some stuff here, guys. We're not going to get too much of it, but there's been some people like Ali and others who've made some controversial statements about us, and we'll touch on a few of these things. And we've also got a little bit more nonsense we're going to look at, right? We're going to talk about these things in a few minutes, right? We'll get into this stuff, but the point we want to point out here is that we are all supposed to have unique original dreams. No one can create that for you, because the moment someone tries to create a dream for you, you are now the slave, you are the robot to the information of that was explained to us. And so if we believe in it, we are now dead because we're now performing the programming of the explanation. So when people make claims that life is as a mathematical universe, they're deeply brainwashed, because ABC 1, 2, 3 does not come out of nature. And all the definitions that come out of ABC, which form measurements, compass, square, what Ali, we'll talk about Ali soon, about imperial evidence, right? But he's relying on the background of all the nonsense that goes back through all the generations of recorded his story, which is alchemy, which is system science, which is pseudoscience, which is mathematics, geometry, ABC 1, 2, 3. These are not your dreams. And we have been trained to fall into them. We become like a dead fish swimming in amongst the shit. And we keep projecting. So if you're brought up by the education system and all you see is the imperial evidence of the pseudoscience of everything mathematically configured, and all you see is the Fibonacci stuff and all, all that stuff, you're gone. You're truly gone. Because though you might still see the mountain, you're not sensing the information coming from the mountain. We can't directly experience the purpose of the mountain. We can't sense it because the head is distracted with it's like a ghetto blaster inside your head of white noise. That's a daffodil, it's yellow. That's Mount Everest. This is 4,500 feet high. This is this and that, and all these explanations, right? This is what shut us down. And this is what Eric Dubai relies on for the flat earth bullshit too. Because the flat earth is a total bullshit thing. But we'll get into this, because unless you see the bigger picture, which we talked about in part 2 of this video discussions, right? Where the blind man, Indian man, please tell us what this is. And he's touching an elephant. He says, oh, it's a tail. Right. Well, if you only see flat earth the way Eric explains it to you, it's like you have a full lobotomy. It's like half your head's been cut off and you're only seeing a small picture, right? And if you're in a small picture, you are that living dead. You are that fallen man, a total robot, influenced by the sire programs of these liars that keep you performing in the system, because all these things are coming from the system. You don't find this stuff, all this mathematical stuff, geometrical stuff, the imperial evidence that Ali talks about. You don't find this in nature anywhere, because nature does not teach us this stuff, because they're not our dreams. When we're brought up in nature, the inspiration, the sensations of us amongst the magnificence of nature inspires us to create our dreaming. And that's unique to us. So no one can tell us what reality is. I can't even tell you what reality is, because I'd be lying to you the moment I explain it to you. I'm bringing you under my image power. I'm bringing you into my dream. And if I teach you to do that and make you forget yours, well, I'm turning you into my slave. I'm turning you into my drone. And then if you believe me that much and you trust me, I become the Pied Piper. I become the false prophets, the we will lead every revolution against us liars, because then I can influence you to believe anything. And if you can only see small bits, you can't see the big picture, how can you wake up? How can you ever wake up?
Today, not today, but the day before, I made video on my French channel, and I said, do you honestly think in your brain that they're gonna let us lead the revolution on YouTube? Hello, hello. They've led every revolution in his story. So what? Now we're gonna lead the revolution? No, they're gonna lead it. They're gonna put stuff in your head that they want you to think. That's what it is. That's what I'm telling you. So
because see, the background is the brainwashing that you've been put through already. Up till now, up to when flat earth was introduced to you, or when Christianity was introduced to you, because you weren't born a Christian, you were conditioned to become a Christian, right? No one was born Muslim or Rasta or rock and roll or punk rocker. We were conditioned into it, right? Now, you'll find in most cases, they are sire programs manipulated by alchemists, by people who practice occults, the occultists, because they are the true Satanists. Remember, what we're talking about? We're talking about Satanism. We're talking about creating storytelling or a fairy tale and getting people to enter inside the fairy tales with a character, they give it a name, and perform in it inside the fairy tale. And they believe that that fairy tale is true and it's real. And the identity that's inside there, the Alice in Wonderland, is who they are. That's your birth certificate in the system, right? So in that way, Satanism is this practice. It's the side program of another man's dream that you get seduced to enter into and perform in it. And if you just see the big picture, you're gone, because all you have is the ABC 1, 2, 3 swimming in your head, because that forms the background of the fake persona. That is the name we believe that we are, right? And we call us Arthur, and we call us Fiona, etc., right? And if our head is spinning with ABC 1, 2, 3 and all the words and the meanings that come from the dictionaries, the thesaurus and the etc., and etymologies and all the phonetics and all that, we are dreaming a world of Wonderland. And we are dreaming a fake persona that we project inside that Wonderland. But it gets worse than this. We are also paving the path of...
It's very important. It's very important for them also, Arthur, to break our will, capture the soul, and really like guide us into this. That's what I was. I was like, hey, and you know, the earth doesn't end at the straight line. The earth is everything. So that's why it can't have a shape. The earth is everything. So it doesn't end at a straight line at the level surface of the ground, just like it doesn't end at the surface of your skin. Like you said, it's just nonsense. So the sense is that earth is everything part of creation. So where's the shape?
Exactly. If some psychopath comes and chops off your hand and comes and visits, oh, this is Yannick.
Yeah.
Where's the rest of him? Where's the rest of this man? Where are you, bro? I can't. Is this you? This piece of hand? Well, this is what Eric Dubai does with Flat Earth. You know?
Yeah.
And this is, we'll get into this. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna get into this stuff, right? But look, the point is, going back to what we're talking about, we form a storyland of white noise between our ears, of the explanations of everything that was done to us by those who explain things to us, the storytellers. This includes mum and dad and everyone else close to us, from so young, that the background is filled. Right? Now remember, like when you want to create a fairy tale, you need you want to act in the fairy tale, put on a performance for an audience. You create a stage, you paint the background, put the props, and then bring the actors on stage, right? This is exactly what we do with the system. We become the conditioned, brainwashed actors who project the stage because we've been educated in the history, which forms the Wonderland, right, of mathematics and geometry and system science and all this, all the explanations and instructions of measurements. And because that's all we see, we are projecting this. Now, you've got to remember, we are imagining it. We are fantasizing it. We're not living it. Because we aren't that. Because there's nowhere where you can't go anywhere and visit ABC 1, 2, 3. And, oh, hello, ABC 1, 2, 3. Please talk to us. Can we sit down? Let's have a drink sitting under a tree and we'll have a laugh and we'll talk about it together. Or where's your children playing ABC 1, 2, 3? Where are your ancestors buried? What does nature need from you? Like, what animal comes to eat you so they can exist? If you didn't exist, what if nature will die because you don't exist? You see, what's the address where you live so we can visit you? You know, what's your mailing address? You know, you find this is all fantasy. This is why no innocent child can be taken anywhere in nature to learn about ABC 1, 2, 3 or anything to do with empirical evidence. You have to fantasize it. Even if you have hundreds of millions of people conditioned to the background of the stage set prop, and everyone brings the history out to say this is the empirical evidence of all our history, of all our alchemy, of all the recorded ages of this lie. Even if you have hundreds of millions of people, it's still not proof of fact. That's true. It's just a lie.
What about people that try to define the source of creation with mathematics, like with pi or something like that? What do you think about that?
There is no pi. There is no pi.
Pi was a theory.
Pi is just a theory. You see, look, the daffodil is yellow. You're seeing it before your eyes. I can take you to the daffodil is yellow. But can it tell you that it is the daffodil that is yellow? Or can only another man explain it to you? You see, We become imposters. We commit fraud by making claims about things around us that are natural and say this is what it is. But you can't bring forward that life form in first party, right? So what happens? We are third parties acting as imposters, claiming we are authorized, you know, we are in the rights of representing, we talked about this in the other videos, the life form that we now call the daffodil is yellow. Now, if no one challenges us to this, and everyone around us accept this lie, you can have millions of people all agree, say, yeah, that's the daffodil, it's yellow. And yes, the scientific explanation comes with it. But where's the proof of fact? Bring forward the first party, the life form. Let's hear it from the tongue of the life form. Is it true life form that you are a daffodil? Is it true that you're yellow? Why does it that we have to have a man who comes forward in third party acting as a representative of that life form? This is fraud. This is imperial evidence. This is what Ali goes on about. This is ABC 1, 2, 3. Everybody is an imposter in third party because the brainwashing was already done to them. They have been fused. That the fake persona that became Ali, that became you, and became us, was forged into the background of all the nonsense. And we are Alice in Wonderland in the nonsense. And we are projecting the yellow brick road before us. We pave the path and we walk down it too, because we're stupid idiots that we do this. You see, so we are dreamers, we are creators who've been kidnapped to create a lie instead of creating life. So we create death, because when we are in third party and we're acting as an imposter, not only are we committing fraud, we're admitting that we are dead, because the lie means that we're dead to reality. We don't want to see reality. We accept fantasy as truth. But then we infect our children with this, and we infect everyone else around us.
We accept explanation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so when you have a whole world built around this explanation, instruction, education, suggestion, which is indoctrination or brainwashing, which actually is constructs and concepts of third-party storytelling, we are in the inculcation now, performing the ritual of a fantasy world. And so we are on stage as the actors under the name we were given, set to the background of all the bullshit, of all this nonsense, performing a robotic state, a state like we talked about in the other video, the state of New South Wales, the state of Victoria, the state of California, where we are in a psychological distorted state on the land. All right, and that state of California is a lunatic asylum. It's a mental asylum. And you said, well, we are, because we're truly lunatics. We're all psychopaths, lost in fantasy, believing that the fantasy is true. So anyone who's watching this video, anyone who reads our work, going back to 2005 when we were putting all this out then, the truth's only in first party, never in third party. So when someone comes along to impersonate you, they will make claims about, like someone said, hatred. Arthur hates Eric. Arthur hates people who believe in flat earth. What a lot of rubbish. Arthur hates no man. Arthur hates the lies that become a man. And Arthur goes in to destroy the lie, to stop the man from promoting the lie, to stop forming harm and creating the fusion of the system that forces my children have to be indoctrinated into the system, because it is a peer pressure of everybody, right? And this is something else that people got to get their head around, because you've got to step back to the bigger picture, because the whole system is full of slaves who are indoctrinated, brainwashed. And you can't run around with ABC 1, 2, 3 without a world of blue collars and white collars, educating and being the educated to uphold the fantasy world. So the inculcation is rooted in belief in ownership. Belief in ownership of what we've been explained. Oh, that's a daffodil's yellow. I own that. Belief in ownership of the name. I'm Arthur. A belief in ownership that I'm Greek culture. A belief in ownership that I'm a Greek Orthodox. That's creed. Belief in ownership of I'm a carpenter. That's another lie, right? And so it goes even further to belief in ownership of the land. We're given land titles, deed, and say, well, number 11, right, da-da-da, street, whatever, is our land. And that's a lie too. You see, it's all a lie. So we are in the inculcation of ownership, and it's in the ownership that becomes each paver that we lay in front of us for the yellow brick road we walk down, because that's all we see. We see the yellow brick road. We see the daffodils yellow. We see flat earth. We see ABC 1, 2, 3, and all we're doing is projecting and projecting and projecting the creation of the lie of our fallen state. So if you want to, if you want to be sincere and true, you have to go right back before the ownership of these lies that we took on, that we used to define the fake persona that we project as Alice into the Wonderland. Each of us with the name of the birth certificate, each of us that defines our whole life. And the proof is every thought, every alphabet thought in your head. Every alphabet thought in your head is not you, and it is the intent of those who want to dominate you. And every alphabet thought in your head is the sign of your death. It is the symptom of your destruction. And it shows how much you have given up who you really are, because you don't know who you are. And you're now relying on these liars like Eric Dubai and many others to define to us inside the system, because it only comes in the system. Because see, Eric made his bed in the system. And everything Eric does defaults to the system. So no matter how much Eric talks about freedom, the freedom's only in the system, not outside of it. When David Icke talks about consciousness, this consciousness is only inside the constructs of the inculcation, right? But not outside of it. So David Icke's consciousness that he talks about is inside the system, not outside of it. And all the Pied Pipers, all the liars do this to you, because see, no one can define your reality. Yet these Pied Pipers are defining your reality by explaining to you. So you've been guided from so young by ABC 1, 2, 3, and every letter that's come out of the dictionary that forms your sentence to the prison of the system. And so when we talk in sentences and we talk in English, if we don't sense each other's intention, we can't get past the lying we talk in talking to each other. So if you don't sense our intention, you won't realize Arthur doesn't hate you. We don't have any hatred to anyone. We don't. But we hate the lie. Because the lie is death. Why would we love the lie? Why would we allow our immune system to accept the toxic cancer into our body to kill us? Would we not be wanting to boot it out? Remove it out of the way? All right? And in fact,
that's what I want.
In fact, dissolve it, make it whole so it can't affect anyone else. So we come in with battle axes, man, and we smash the lying and all the liars to free the man from the lie and to free people from the lie. Because the whole system is built out of this lying made by liars.
You don't read. Hold on, realizing all that. I hear myself in the background. I don't know if your volume is too high or something. Yeah, there's an echo. Okay, now it's okay. Yeah, what I realized with all this, how sinister it was. Yesterday, I was sitting with Mar here, and I was like, I was sad. I'm starting to feel the pain, really, of my brothers and sisters, really into some kind of evil. It's really evil what's going on. If you don't see it, you're freaking blind, because it's all over our face. There's churches in every parish in Quebec. In Quebec, there's churches in in every neighborhood almost, you know. So it's satanic. People have no idea how they get their soul hijacked and all that. It's really a satanic world, and I came to realize it. But me, it's freeing me even more and more, because now, you know, we have to know how the world operated to know a bit how to operate in it. I mean,
and how to get out of it. Well, yeah, it's interesting about creating and how we are creators. It's like we can't help but be creators. Everything we do, we're creating something, whether we're creating the life or the death. And so just looking at this, something that Ali said, there is no escaping this matrix. We are mortals here who live a finite life. Well, of course, if you're lost in the system, that is exactly what you're creating. If you're seeing that we end at the surface of our skin and that's all we are, and you're not seeing that life out there that's endlessly renewing and changing, and there's nothing fixed, you know, the tree falls, it breaks into the ground, it becomes the new life that comes up in the plants and the trees. It's just an endless movement of of life carrying on. But if we see ourselves as, hey, look, this is all I am, I'm just this body and I finish here, then when that body's done, obviously we think, oh, well, that was that then, and that's all there is, you know, and then there's some great God up there who's dictating everything that's happening in my life.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we create if that is what we believe. And which is exactly why we have the system as it is, and it's such a mess and such a disaster, because we're all tuned into creating that. And that's the power, you know, to look at the power of our creation, just look outside. It's incredible. But then we get all caught up in the psyop programs that we don't see it, because we think, oh, but I want peace, I want freedom, I want to be happy, I want to have a good relationship, I want the money, I want that. And so then, because it's not happening in my life, I think, well, I'm not a creator. But actually, it's just our brains are so befuddled, and all the rubbish we have in our heads, all the psyop programming, all the denial about who we are and what we do, means, of course, we can't create what we think we want to create. But we don't see the
creating
matrix.
that.
Yeah, exactly. We're creating that through our beliefs and our thought forms.
What you sense is not the thoughts in your head. The thoughts in your head is not your sense. You see, we are so confused that every thought in our head is not our sense, right? What you sense are not the thoughts in your head, the alphabet thoughts, because they're not your dreams. See, when you sense, you're sensing the life of everything around you that lives and sings its song to you. And when you connect with that song, you're sensing the true purpose of everything. But when we are lost in the explanation, it is this deep brainwashing of all this nonsense, which is what Eric Dubai relies on, which is what David Icke and all the Pied Pipers out there rely on. They rely on this inculcation to keep you in the nonsense, in the state of nonsense, so you can be manipulated because you still can't see the big picture. Right? You okay? Are you lost? Okay, we've lost
No, it's
sound.
okay. Because I was doing noise in the background and it was bothering
sorry,
me.
I don't know what happens is sometimes when. So what I'm getting at is that our sense cannot be defined by anybody. Meaning we are all sacred. Children are sacred, but a child is already a man. So when we look at a child as a child, educating him, we're coming from a brainwashed state, thinking that the child is already broken down. It needs to come from the dark ages and grow the child up to become a man. You see, when we use our senses, we don't have any thoughts in our head anymore that are coming from somebody else.
You feel it with the heart, you know?
Yeah, because now your heart is the life of everything around you. That is the air, that is everything that lives. The thing is that it's in the explanation that forms our fallen state, because it's finite. The explanation is a lie. It's finite. It means it's lineal. It's lineal means it's dead. It doesn't have a purpose. So the lie will wear thin eventually. People will wake up to see the lie for what it is. But when we are lost in a whole world of lying, our reality has become so shattered, so broken down, that the horror is almost beyond most people to even face it. It's too much for them, because you know what I'm saying? Because the truth that's non-lineal is already there. When the true shift in consciousness is waking up to all this nonsense and just letting go of all the bullshit that was confusing us, what was distracting us, that was burying what was already there, because it's already there. Who we are is already here. Everything of the truth is already here. We're not on a journey to it, because that's a lie too. You can't journey to something. That's bullshit. Or journey from. That's bullshit too, because that's lineal. So it's in the letting go. And this is where the fear and the doubt and the uncertainty of letting go. And this is where the rituals I was talking about in the last video, about how they do these satanic rituals where they put these implements into their victims. They're usually children and babies, but they do it to teenagers and elderly people, and they do it to animals too. But they put these implements into the heart, and they also put this choking implement around their neck, and they choke them close to death, and they sing this song to capture the broken will, which forms ABC 1, 2, 3 and all the meanings. So they take them close to death. Then they release it, bring them back to consciousness. Then they start it again until they get a broken will. And when they get that broken will, they take the blood They take the breath because it's what we sense. The blood is living. The breath is living. So when we sense the trauma, and it's been defined through the explanations of flat earth and ABC 1, 2, 3 and all that stuff, we are in a deep state of psychological mess. We're in a bad way. And it's what keeps us locked in there, because we're too scared. We're too frightened to truly wake up and just break out of all of this, and to spread out and to stop it all. The basis of Eric Dubai's work is in this ritual slaughter. Now, I'm not saying Eric's involved directly in this, but all the occultists that in their networks rely on it, because it needs man to continue projecting the lie to uphold the system. If man no longer believed in the lie, the whole system would collapse before our eyes. So they've got to find a way to glue you. So they have to give you this emotion that compels you to be attached to the constructs and the concepts of words and letters that define meanings that keep you in a state of ownership, because when you own these words and letters and numbers, you'll keep creating your world out of this. But it's a fake world. It's not real. So we are all creators creating a lie. And it's built out of all those who was tortured. And to keep you in the torture state, they remind you of war, invasion, and pregnant women being bashed by police, and the oceans being poisoned, and all that stuff. And this whole pot, and the CIA in Cambodia, and all this stuff. And it comes back into all that as well, you see. So who we really are cannot be defined by anybody. And the interesting thing is, all emotion, it comes from victims who need somebody else for them to be who they are. Right? A man doesn't need another man to be a man. We don't need anyone to define who we are. We stand on our feet in that way, truly alone. But we're not separated. Right? But in this system, we become emotionally attached to the ownership of letters and words that forms the storytelling of our language, that tells us that we're Greeks and Italians, and we're in Australia and Canada, and we have internet. I mean, all the things that define the lie we live in, the system, the matrix, right? But it is an attachment to another man to have it, because you need another man to provide you with the water in your house through the local council and the water boards. You need another man. Again, this goes back to the previous video about that little screw and the little nut. There are so many people involved to give you the system on the plate and for you to enter into it, right? And we call it preschool and kindergarten, and we bring all the innocence of our brothers and sisters into this to totally, utterly, bloody brainwash them, bring them in. And again, Eric Dubai relies on all this to pull off the flat earth movement, right? So, Eric, if you're watching this, we've given you full disclosure. We've given you the opportunity to debate with us out in the open. We're not your enemy. We're not your threat. We're not here to hurt you, the man. But everything you're making claims about, and all those of you out there are making these claims, why don't you put it to the test of scrutiny? Why don't you bring it out into the open? Why are you so scared? All these lies, we'll put the link up to where this stuff, where all these guys are lying. They're saying that we're mud racking. Ali's saying we're going to mud rack. We don't go mud rack, Ali.
We don't go mud rack anyway.
We don't mud rack anyway. We just go in there and destroy the lie. And they are so attached, they own the lie, they believe that part of them is being hurt. You see? And this
that's how I feel. I feel like they take it personal and they feel hurt, and it's like, okay, are you not looking for truth?
It shows they're unhealthy. These people are not well. They're psychologically impaired. Because a man wouldn't do it, wouldn't behave like this. A man who comes from a truth doesn't have nothing to lose. If you got the truth by your side, what to worry about? It stands. The truth stands.
And if we're really interested in the truth, then shouldn't we be prepared to dive into everything? I mean, we don't want to waste years trying to uncover the truth of everything, because there's more important things to do, like create a remedy. But if something's coming up, and you've got to be prepared to have your beliefs challenged, because if you aren't, then you're never going to get to truth and find out what it is anyway.
See, again, sensing the intention. You see, another guy made a video.
I knew from the beginning, entering that old flat earth thing, I sensed it from the beginning there was something wrong, but I never really put my finger on it until I get with you and Jabba and starting to really get out of a bit the linear construct of that we had in our head, and I really make more sense of the reality. And for me now, the earth doesn't end as a straight line. I know the horizon is horizontal, okay, but the earth is not end at a straight line. It's the whole thing of creation. This is the thing, so it has no shape.
This is the same thing with what we in this thing that we were talking about. Trick Daddy put up whoever this guy is, girl is. We don't know who it is. It could even be Eric for all we know. We don't know who it is. But Trick Daddy puts up a short bits and pieces from a previous video that we had with you, and tries to make it out that we have hatred. But you see, Trick Daddy's in third party. He's acting, what he's trying to do is kidnap our characters and impersonate us, and in doing that, creating slander and fraud by making it out that we're the one with hatred. But he's the one who has the hatred, but he's trying to superimpose it over us, like the Daffodil Yellow. He's trying to kidnap us to bring us under his hood, his storytelling, to make it out, hey, we hate Eric, we hate Ali. We don't, with your brothers. If you guys come knocking on our door, we'll let you in and feed you, give you a bed to sleep in, you idiots. We're not your fucking enemy. Just don't fucking lie. Stop the fucking lying. Now, what are you scared of? What are you scared of?
Look here.
These guys are gutless because they live the lie, because they are so attached to the lie. That's all they got. Now, some of these people are in occultic groups. They've sold out. And it means death to their brothers and sisters, or to their children, or to them. Because that's what Freemasons do when they sell out. When you get above the benevolent show pony levels, you sell out, man, to the devil. And the devil is this grand architect lie, this whole scam. And this is where everyone gets trapped in this stuff. So we provide sanctuary. We're not here to lie to you. Prove to us that we're lying. Don't give us a belief system. Don't come with storytelling and tell us that your belief system is the truth, because you're just peddling lies. The truth doesn't need a man to explain it. It's already self-evident. It's evident to everybody. A child doesn't need to be brought up in reality. It's already there before the child. The child just needs to not be interfered with, so the child can define its natural reality and create its living dream. You see, not based on another man's interpretation what that child should be. Right, and all that stuff. So
that's exactly what I told my son this morning. I was with him outside waiting for the bus, and I said, Gavin, make a promise to me that you will never learn to anybody to be something in life, to start doing something. I said, don't listen to what people tell you. Make sense of reality yourself. Use scrutiny. And he's 9-year-old, and I tell him that. So, it's not because the truth is not self-evident. It's self-evident. Even children can realize it much faster than us sometimes.
Well, we doubt them, you see. Because we doubt who we are, we doubt them. And so we do, because we're already destroyed, we pass on the destruction to them. We're already in a dead state, so we want our children to be dead too. Yeah. And you know what dead is, loneliness, boredom, horniness, rape, and we create children like this because they're dead, and we're dead. And we act dead, and that's why we go to war. This is why we harm, how we chop. When you take a man and put them in a university, you brainwash a man, innocent child from the background of ABC from so young, put them through university, and then give them a certificate and a title and say you're an engineer. And yet this man's whole life is made in the system, because he's made his bed in the system, and everything he does defaults to the system. He can't sense the purpose, the big picture of every tree, of everything that's in the forest. Everything, from the tiniest to the greatest. All collectively. Can't sense it. All they can see is the projection of his yellow brick road that he's going to pave and put a highway through it. Dig it open, cut it open, and turn it into concrete and steel and plastic. This is suicide, bros. This is worse than you can possibly comprehend about death to that we are, because it's the living legacy of our ancestors that is all of nature. And this is something else we want to point out here too, guys. But we are the only first party to all experience. Now, as we said to Ali made the comment. What was the comment he said here? About, he was making claims that we are God.
Hold on. it's very, I find this very important also, those comments, the comment of the people that come like that forward and give us comment, because me, that's what I analyze. It gives me a greater insight also on the whole picture to see how people analyze this and how they react, and after I make more sense of everything too.
Well, the thing is, it's also like when we people sometimes complain about the length of our posts, etc. But what they don't realize is when we come in to deconstruct a lie, we'll show in great detail why it's a lie and how. And now we're always open to people showing us that we're wrong as well. We're quite open to that. And yet Ali makes, you know, he makes a comment such as, Arthur seems to believe measurements definitions are a result of satanic inculcation and suggests we should get out of this dream of ABC 1, 2, 3 and lots of other hogwash. Then he also says, this world is a matrix, is a mathematical construct. Everything we perceive is encoded and can be decoded, manipulated using linear sequencing, etc. But where's his, where can he show us that this is true? How can he show us that this is true and not just something that he's learned? You see, he loves to suggest that what we've said is hogwash, but he's not showing anything to suggest otherwise other than inculcation, something that somebody told him, that somebody told them, that somebody told them, that somebody told them.
Exactly. This is fanaticism.
There's no truth there. Or
He's a fanatic.
There's no proof there.
He's a fanatic to the cult of flat earth, and he's a fanatic to the cult of pseudoscience, right? And he doesn't want to take responsibility yet, because he all that can happen is Ali comes forward in third party acting as the authorized representative of flat earth or authorized representative of mathematics. But bring forward mathematics in first party. Let's hear from the tongue of mathematics. I don't want a storyteller. I don't want an imposter. Bring forward mathematics in first party. Now the thing is this, anyone who stops and contemplate, you realize all the stuff spinning in your head is not mathematics in first party. It's another man who put that shit in your head that explained it to you. And you're relying on that since you were this little schnooker. And you built your lie out of this. And you think that this is the truth. It's not. So Ali's still in third party, acting as if he's the representative in first party of a linear world. He believes that the linear constructs are true. Okay, bring forward. No problem, Ali. Bring forward the linear world in first party. Let's hear it directly from the linear world and not from another man acting as an imposter in third party of the linear world, because that'll directly take us to the truth. Now he can't do that, right? We ask Eric, bring flat earth in first party. Let's hear it from flat earth, right? If you want to tell a child about the tree, you don't explain to the child. You let the child roam in the forest, and the child gets the direct experience of the tree, and the child forms a direct relationship with the purpose of the tree, because no one's inside the child's head to shut down the child from sensing the purpose of the tree sharing with the child, because all of nature is willingly sharing. That's why it's life. It lives. It's sharing. It's the sun that's shining. It gives. Why do we doubt this magnificence?
Exactly. That's another thing Ali says here. He says, I ask you, brothers and sisters, can you prove our collective consciousness has the power to move mountains or set into motion celestial bodies? Well, none of us believe that we can. So that's why we don't see it happening. But as I said before, look what we've managed to do to Earth through our power of creation in our belief. We've managed to practically destroy the whole thing. That's a pretty big effort. You know, what we've done is incredible in terms of creation to Earth. We've created almost total destruction across basically nearly all of Earth. Now, if that doesn't show the power of our creation, it's just we don't believe we can move mountains, and we don't believe we can set into motion celestial bodies.
You see, the thing
doesn't mean we can't.
The light is the light, right? So like when the sun's shining, the light is already the life of the sun, right? It's as a linear analogy. So the same with us. Unless we are that light, that life, how do we know? If all we know is nonsense all our life, and we're so shut down, and we're full of doubt and uncertainty because of the torture of all those that were bloody brutalized in those rituals, and we're so shut down from this, and all we're relying on is the prosthetics of ABC 1 to 3. These are my walking sticks. I've got to walk. I need ABC to talk. I need mathematics to be able to engage with my brothers and sisters, because that's what commerce is. You know, I need measurements with the commerce because it defines weight, size, boxes, quantity, you know, fictional values, commercial values, real estate values, all this kind of bullshit that forms the stock market and forms the whole system of the economy. It's all bullshit. It's all make-believe fantasy. But the thing is, we are so attached to it. that we think that's where we are, and that we think that's who we are. But if we actually can shut it all down out of our head, get this ghetto blast out of our head, and start sensing again, the life of everything around us is alive. And the more we connect, the more we sense the capacity to become true creators again. So we're all on a journey now, not a journey towards freedom. We're on a journey of just realizing the bullshit and letting it go, so that who we are can rise up and shine, like you say. Rise up and shine. You can't fucking rise up and shine if the nonsense is in your fucking head. How can you? If all you see is nonsense, and all you keep projecting is nonsense, and you believe you're shut down mortal, what do you expect? You're going to create exactly that. And if your mother teaches you that, and your father teaches you that, and all your brothers and sisters around you are that, what do you expect? The peer pressure. It's so incredible how it's so ingrained. Everywhere you go, you just getting the signs. Oh, this is the best we can be. This is it. This is the apex of our amazing abilities. You know, we don't realize we haven't even begun. Like I said the other day in the video, that little gap. That's what immortal is. It's so shut down, mate. It's just unbelievable.
It's like, why giving us a family name? I was reflecting on that. Why a family name? Because it's our slave history?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. In fact, Ali even says it himself. Imagination is a powerful tool which can be used to dream up entire worlds in your mind's eye.
Exactly.
Well, there's the system.
There you are, Ali.
That's what he
wake
says
up.
here. And he says when you wake up,
stop being asleep.
Listen, when you wake up from your dream, the sun will still rise and set, and the moon will still be here. Facts. Well, yeah, that's what we would say. Nature's still there.
See, this is fanaticism for you. This is what fanatics do. You know, fanaticism in religions can create all kinds of terrible abominations. We do the most despicable things to each other and to life when we are fanatics, because we're so lost in the storytelling that a Christian that's defined as a Christian will destroy another man who's defined as a Muslim, you know, or a Jew and a Greek, whatever, you know. And we are in this shut down, shattered reality because we're dead. Everything has been broken. It's all the definitions, because the lines of the broken puzzle are the definitions that have been explained to us. So we can't see the big picture. We can't sense it anymore. And when we're lost like that, and we're so addicted.
Okay, just sorry. What about the people? Because I heard a lot of people came to me and told me, Yannick, flat earth is a good thing to start to awake. It's a good thing to raise the consciousness of humanity and all that. And it could be a great starting point to, you know, elevate the conscience and realize that we've been lied to and everything. So what do you say about that, that it's a good starting point?
It's set to the background of ABC 1, 2, 3. How can it? How can it? If someone explains to you consciousness, is that your consciousness? If someone explains to you what freedom is that your freedom? Is that not an idea in your head about a freedom someone put in there?
We've had that.
Same with flat earth. No, let me finish. Yeah. Let me finish. You go to a supermarket. Do you have choice or do you have freedom? Wherever you go in the system, do you have choice or do you have freedom?
Choice.
Exactly, because it was provided to you. I'll buy that. That's what we are. Wards of the state. We truly are. That's how deeply fucked up we are. The thing is, when we are free, we have our dreams, and no man's inside our head. So when someone's talking about flat earth, it is an audience of dumbed-down, brainwashed zombies being manipulated by a Pied Piper, relying on the background of ABC 1, 2, 3 that defines all the lies, that sweeps them all up and raises them all up into the system, you see. So the whole of the system is built around this lie. Going back to that little screw, and now we talked about in the previous video, flat earth is just like a little screw. It relies on the whole of the system where everyone defaults their life to, because they can't dream outside of it. All their dreams are still inside the box. They can't step outside of it. So unless you can step back and make sense of everything and see the bigger picture, you're gone. And this is what we're trying to do. So flat earth is a lot of shit in that way, right? Look, again, when you're looking at a plant in front of you, forget the word plant because that's been put in our head, but you look at a life form, a sensory life form. If your head is spinning with daffodils yellow, well, that's no different to saying earth is flat. It's the same nonsense. You see, linear technology can't define truth to us.
It's a very good thing you just said. You just said, stop looking at a plant like being a plant.
Exactly.
This is big.
Because the
You
plant,
are being a plant.
because the plant is the intel operative who put that picture in your head with what you're looking at. That's a plant. You see, Freemasons, they're like agriculturalists, or they're like landscapers. Imagine a garden. Imagine buying a property and all you got is just a lawn there. And a landscaper comes in for the client and designs a whole garden full of plants. Now, then the landscaper gets the money and goes and buys the trees and the shrubs and everything, brings the earth-moving machines in and creates it or whatever, and to make this landscaping. Right, this is what Freemasons do in deceiving everybody in the system. They create their plants, David Icke, they plant them. They take the Max Eigen, you know, I could just give you so many names about these liars. And they rise up in the garden of the system to become those we think are one of us, who talk the mantras of freedom and consciousness and truth and lying and all that. But they are all planned to be those plants
at certain times.
At certain times. So the fruit ripens at a certain time. Their plans to deceive everybody is like that. The whole system is like a garden of lies. The whole Bible is a forecasting of the prophecy of the same landscaping. It's like when you run a business and you create projections and forecasting. It's no different. It's self-fulfilling. So when you see people coming out of the underground grassroots movement and they come up talking, you've got to really suss them out, because Max Eigen was one of them, but he's a fucking plant. You know, and there's so many of these people. Like Lisa M. Harrison's another one.
And they're all just
She's an intel
come up
operative.
at certain times. You know, at this time in Europe, so-and-so is going to be rising. At this time in Australia, so-and-so is going to be rising. At this time in North America, this plant's coming up. And this is why we're seeing them now. Oh, so-and-so's connecting with so-and-so. They're talking. Isn't it great? You know, they're all getting together, these great people rising up with the truth. And that's all part of that. Everyone coming together slowly, so we can end up with a one world religion, end up with a one world consciousness movement, end up with a one world government, because everyone is slowly moving together.
It's scripted.
And then we all think, oh wow, isn't it great? Everyone's coming together and we're all working to the same goal.
So if you get a book explaining, what do you expect? Everyone's going to follow the programming. Look, if you want to create a stage, set a background to it, create a whole lot of characters and perform it, there's your landscaping coming to life. All your plants are bringing to life everything. And when you set it to time, you know, to BCAD and all that, you can create the illusion across the generations of all those who fell into the lie to create the outcome of what the landscaper dreamt for the garden. Now, the whole illusion of this is to bring man so back close to the truth of nature, but not enough that they can reclaim their dream. They'll still be in the dream of another man that defined their consciousness and their freedom and their values and everything else that their head is spinning with between their ears. Because the Freemasons, these occultists, these lying Satanists, is this stuff between your ears. Because it is that film, that stuff is the film that you're projecting onto the cinema life to form the landscaping of your dreaming that you create and you walk amongst it. Now the Freemasons, while they're doing all this and getting you to do it, they're behind the scenes manipulating everything, you know, because they're the stage managers, the directors, they're the producers, they're all this sort of stuff. They work together and they control all the organizations of banking and finance and commerce and insurance and government, and it doesn't matter which political parties, because see, everyone's discriminated against. The censorship is staggering, which I think we touched on in the previous video. So the thing is that when you talk about the daffodil is yellow, it's a plant, because it is. Another man's put that shit in your head, and that's a plant. A plant of a man has put that in your head.
A plant of a thought.
A plant of a thought. It's been planted in you. And it's come from a Pied Piper who's a plant.
And you know, it really shows
an intel operative.
This whole thing of everyone coming together. Now, if we can just imagine that everything of the system collapsed, so we'd have no idea what was happening outside our immediate neighborhoods, outside our, you know, however long, 10 miles around us or something like that. And so what would happen here in this place in Australia that we live with, the people around us who created some sort of whatever we would create after the system collapsed, might turn out quite different to what you in Canada were creating with those around us, because it's all the sum of the unique people who were there at that moment. Whereas, which shows you just, whereas we're never going to be all the same under one thing, which is shows you how alien it is what they're pushing for. You know, they're trying to make us all come together with the same thing all over Earth, and yet that would never happen if man was truly taking responsibility for your lives in their immediate local area with the immediate people around them and learning to live without all that stuff. And yet they're trying to just push us all together under a generic thing.
Now, let's go one step further with this too. When you're brainwashed and become a psychotic, because you are psychotic if you're in the system. We are all psychopaths. We are so deranged. We truly are. Now, the thing is this. In the system, when someone comes along and explains something to us, it comes with ABC 1, 2, 3 and adds to what already was done before. So the whole world of the stage of the system is set to the background. So Eric Dubai and all these other liars out there, they rely on this to keep you as a prisoner in the system. So even though it appears that the sheeple are moving from one enclosure out to freedom, they're actually still in another enclosure, except this enclosure will be so close to the truth. But it'll be like the Federation in Star Trek. You still will be answerable under quota. You'll be answerable under tithing to another man. And you still have another man inside your head dictating to you what you must do for your brothers and sisters around you, when really your own conscience is enough. You already got the conscience to do it, right? So when you look at it like this, when we woke up, when we started to wake up because of the fraud bank cases with Macquarie Bank and all these despicable things that were being done to us, okay, we were victims back then. We were in trauma. We really were. We were, you know, something clicked in us and we decided to get outside the box and start to challenge it. And so we dropped our lawyers, dropped everyone. We went outside and we were going to become self-litigants. We went into court, or Fiona did, because in that case, it was the name of the house was in her name. And I then supported her in that. And we started to use scrutiny because we started to question everything. Because the reason why we did it is because we started seeing or uncovering hundreds of other cases, unlosable cases, all losing. We're thinking, well, what's going on here? How can all these people, where all the evidence is so clear of the fraud, and yet they lost everything? They lost their homes, lost their businesses. You know, we're talking about tax fraud, bank fraud, not the normal, banks creating money at thin end. We're talking about twisting and changing contracts and protecting the lying of all this so that those who were the perpetrators could get away with it. So that's why we started seeing there was a bigger crime syndicate. So we stepped outside of this and realized, my God, we're going to lose too if we don't do something radical. So we dropped everybody, went outside the box and started challenging everything. We had to start looking at everything differently if we wanted to win this case. So you know what we were doing? At the first, we didn't realize we were doing this. Every thought that was coming in our head, I said, right, we're going to scrutinize this thought. Is it true or not? No, it's a lie. Out the door. Next one. Is this true? No, out the door. This one? No, out the door. It hasn't stopped. You see, but people who are addicted to their belief systems, who are fanatics, they don't do that.
No.
This fake illusion that defines Ali and fake all these other people. Oh no, it's part of my reality. It's part of my matrix. It's part of who I am. I can't let it go. This linear mathematic construct that defines the mathematical universe is true.
And then they define.
I cannot have Arthur shatter it for me. We can't let Fiona destroy it. How dare they? We must destroy them. They must be shield. They're shields. They're bad people.
But then what they do is they every thought that comes into them or every new information they come across, they measure against their belief system. And if the belief system says no, then they throw it away. Whereas what we should all be doing is the other way around. When new information comes along, we measure our belief, what we think is true, against what comes along. So you do it the other way around. So that comes along, oh, but I thought this isn't this. Oh, but this tells me that what I thought was actually not true. Okay, I've got to rethink here. You know, that's what we need to be doing.
That's what I've done. That's what I've done because I wasn't that linear. Yeah?
This became the Love Life work in 2005. You see, what really blew me away was when we discovered the codes of the English language, which is another story and thing, you know. And we then looked at, through a guy who had been doing this for 40 years as a layman, who was a Freemason in another country, but the other Freemasons in this country didn't know who he was. But for whatever reason, when we're putting out the SOS, please help us, you know, we're losing our home and all the typical trauma stuff everyone goes through. When we're going through that early stages, sharing information. And one of them was this man's 40 years layman work, where he was revealing us the codes of the letters. And he did a script analysis on one of David Icke's books, and there before our eyes was another language. Now, David Icke stayed in the home back in 1996 for a week. We looked after David. And every day I was with David, I kept feeling sick. I felt like I wanted to buckle over and vomit. And I kept saying to myself, what's wrong with me? I was in awe of David. I looked up at him. I thought, wow, he's a really cool guy. You know, he really is a champion, you know, which is what Pied Pipers do. And every day I was spending time with David, I would feel this. I would drive him off here or do that or that. And I even brought people into the home that we had. We actually had David talking for one night back in 96. And then 2 other women would come and go from the house too that were strange women. And come 2005, when the awakening of the codes, and we got to realize, oh no, it can't be David. No, David, no way. And it's got to be, this is the fanaticism of me. No way, David couldn't be doing this. And then the penny drop, we will lead every revolution against us. The penny drop, if I can get you to think what I want you to think and get you to create that, I'll become a slave to the very thing that I believe in. You see, and so slaves willingly create a world in their master's image. So this is when I started to realize how this nonsense works and how they create the stage for you to enter into the matrix to perform it. Because the truth is not matrix. We are not in an illusion. Reality is not an illusion. You know, it's alive, it's living, and it's always been alive. There's never been a beginning to life. There's never been a beginning to man. We've always existed. So when the script analysis was done on David's book, and we realized, and that's when we were in court too, and we listened to a barrister talking to a judge in Old English, and we started to realize they were talking to each other another language, and we got to listen to the letters like R, and he was going, R, Your Honor, R. He was saying to the judge, please asphyxiate my client, please destroy my client, because the R is like the what's that snake in Egypt? The asp. It's the snake. It's the letter R is an asp, and the asp comes to asphyxiate you and poison you and paralyze you and kill you. So he, in their Old English, were talking like in Hebrew, please paralyze my client.
The client, it's not the client.
No, he was representing, he was a barrister representing a client.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting my bearings on this. So that wasn't in our matter, but I saw that because I was there watching this happening. And that's when I also saw it in our matters, when I started seeing how the barrister was talking to judges. Because when you're dealing with pretty hot, controversial mortgage issues, they bring better judges in because it's more skilled, because they got to know what the playing field is and keep you inside the box of the playing field. They can't let you step outside of it.
And no one can win a mortgage case.
Yeah, no one can win because that will create a precedence. And if you create a real precedence, you destroy everything. Right, for everyone, because it opens up the door. That's why you don't see anyone claiming the $1 billion from their CESTQ trust, from the birth certificate, because if that was set as a precedence, overnight the whole system will collapse. Because everyone gets $1 billion, everything's worthless, completely worthless. We're back to nature again.
And we have no slaves to do.
We have no slaves
because we want to use our $1 billion to go on holiday. But guess what? All the cruise ship staff have also got the $1 billion, so they're not going to be working on the cruise ship. And we want to go and get some petrol for our new car we want to buy. But there's no salesman working in the car sales yard, and there's no one at the petrol station for us to fill up with some petrol. So we can't. You know, $1 billion is toilet paper. Exactly. Basically, that's all it's become.
Exactly, and that's why we left the whole free man sovereignty movement behind, because we kept testing and scrutinizing everything. So it was in those experiences of those days that we got to have this insight into sense and nonsense. And we got to see that sense was consciousness and nonsense was unconsciousness. Sense was life and nonsense was death, you know, or destruction or anti-life. We got to see the sense was Christ and anti-Christ was nonsense, because Christ is life. Christ is pure conscious, but you can't bring man to Christ. Each man comes to Christ from direct experience, because the Christ is just another word that defined man's sensory reality. It's what a man is, but you can't define it for another man. So the true man out there, don't condition another man to bring them into Christ. You don't bring a man to Buddha, because that's the true ones amongst us don't do that, right? Because they see every man as sacred. Why would you desecrate another man, desecrate another soul? Only liars and Pied Pipers do that. So we developed these skills back then. And you'll find on our website, we've got 3,500 plus debates and discussions from crop circles. I mean, there's a fantastic one there on crop circles that we deconstructed it many years ago to show it was all bullshit, the whole crop circle thing. And we showed the site program behind it. So it's not like as if we've just suddenly appeared out of nowhere with flat Earth. I mean, 2005, when we were already gathering information about flat Earth and gathering about the geometrical systems and geocentricity and all that stuff, whether the sun's going around the Earth, whether the Earth's going around the sun. Now, when the website started in December 2006, within a few months of that, we were already putting all this up amongst so much other information on so many other areas, because we're putting it to the scrutiny, bring it all into public domain, including fluoride and chemtrails and vaccinations, all this stuff we're putting out when there wasn't much out there anywhere. There were great people, don't get me wrong, great people everywhere. We were collecting it and bringing it in, pushing it more into mainstream back then. So it was that became the extensive research library of the Love of Life website. That became our instrument of destruction, because we used it all to scrutinize everything. And this has been that was been a journey of unraveling every thought in our head until we emptied it out. So basically, when our kids come home from school, I say, okay, now empty your head out. Just dip every thought out. Dip it out. Just drop it. And so, and the young ones go, they do it. They actually do this. They go, okay, all out now? Yep, good. Okay, get outside.
That's why I have 1,000-something more video on my other channel, because that's all I do is empty it out on that freaking camera. That's all I freaking do.
It's interesting, the whole thing of we all sat around a jar of, say, cinnamon right now, and we all agree it's cinnamon, and we all have a sniff. That's cinnamon. That's cinnamon. That's cinnamon. The fact is, I really have no idea how you are smelling that cinnamon and what it smells like to you. And I've got no idea what it actually smells like to Arthur. And none of you have either idea what it actually smells like to me, what my sense picks up. And yet we all agree it's cinnamon just because we've agreed to. But actually, each of our sense of that smell is totally unique. Or, I've got no idea. And there's no way that you can ever make me experience what you experience when you smell that cinnamon. And that's exactly the truth with all our interactions with nature, that you can, when you look at the beautiful tree, you can never get me to experience what you're experiencing when you look at the tree. I can only experience what I experience when I look at the tree, and we cannot ever make each other experience that same thing, same thing.
So you see, no one can impersonate what you sense. It's impossible. No one can kidnap what you sense. Your sense is unique and original, right? So the only way they can do it is to give you an explanation, call it cinnamon, and then kidnap you that way through the words. So that becomes the spell to the Pied Pipers, the plant that pulls you into their world and bring you into the system, because the system is the cinnamon. Everything that was explained to you, it's in there where they rule you. That's sees as well. But when we wake up, we step out of it. We're not in their world. And when you really wake up, you're not emotionally compelled to perform anything for them anymore. And in fact, all those people who act in force, you make them process the curse. Because, in this case, this man really means it. If you want to lie and we want to harm our family and all that, you go for it. I can't stop you. But the curse upon you and your children will spread like crazy, because I dreamed that for you. So you experience the outcomes of your own lying. And until you give it up and let it go, you will be destroyed by your own dreaming. And I give them permission. I truly give them permission to kill themselves, because that's what they're doing. You can't stop them. So I don't carry guns with me to shoot them. I don't need weapons. I'm not one of these patriots that who's and what's the other one where all those people, they're called preppers. We're not any of these people. We don't create a fortress and hide inside with guns. I have freedom now. No one's going to come over my wall. I'm free. This is what a patriot is. I'm a prepper. We're the opposite. We smash all these walls, throw all the guns away, and rise and shine. Spread that love. Get it, brother. Because see, when you wake up, when you truly wake up, there's nothing they can do to kill you. Because who we are is not here. We don't end here. Who we truly are, something much more magnificent than all this. The same with the whole flat earth stuff, right? So we'll go to this. Now, you guys can see this, right? Now, we sense, and we don't want you to believe this, and everything we said, don't believe. We're asking you, don't allow these thoughts in your head, these ABC, to make a mess with you. Sense our intention. We think, we sense that Earth is more like this. You see, if you look at this,
forget the fact it's a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, forget about the nuclear explosion. This is the expansion of man's consciousness in the dream of life. Here is the firmament, and here are all the stars and the Earth, and everything in it. And there's the stem, and inside that stem up is what people call the flat Earth inside it. And inside is the sun that shines and does what it does. Now, I'm not saying everything exactly is like this, but this is more like the truth of what nature is, of what the dream of life is. We sense that. But I can't prove this to you. And I'm not even saying that I'm right about it. But it's more, I think this is more closer to what it might be, right? Because there's a bigger picture. Now, we're talking about our consciousness, because we're the only first party to man's consciousness. You see, we are the only first party to aliens, to everything that's ever been explained to us. We are the only first party to the dream of life. So it's only man to the experience. And we say to people, like what Ali wrote about, he said something about the moon in one of his comments. Mm. You see, it's man defining the moon. It's man as the first party describing the moon. Now let's bring forward the moon without a man doing it. No one can, you see. So that's what we're trying to say to Ali. We are lying by capturing a life form, right? When we say it's a daffodil is yellow, it's like taking a hood, a potato sack, put it over that life form to shroud it in darkness, because the darkness is all the definitions that were explained to us about what it is. And so we project that and say that the daffodil is yellow. Now that's the hood of priesthood, childhood, livelihood, hood. You see? So that hood is the paver of the yellow brick road we lay before us that we walk down. I'm a Christian. I'm a Jew. I'm a Greek. So we are projecting these sire programs in our image, and we fall into these images of our own creation. So we've got to sense this, the greater picture. So we sense in that mushroom that I showed you that a part of what appears to be the flat Earth is just when you saw that mushroom come up inside, that is part of the flat Earth. But Earth doesn't end there. There's so much more going on. And there's this fusion. If you look at our child in the womb, when we create a child, it comes out of water and it bursts and it comes out. Now that water is no different to the air we breathe, because we are in water. Everything is water. And there's this fusion of our consciousness exploding creation like a seed. If you look at a picture of the tree of life, you know, the one that the Kabbalists worship. Where's that other one?
Got a picture. Oh,
yeah, let's go back to this picture again. Now imagine this was a tree of life coming out of the earth, and all its branches exploding everywhere. This is more like who we are. Now you look at a seed that explodes, and from that seed comes this phenomenal redwood, or nut, you know, whatever.
And it's also that sense of what I was talking about earlier, that endless motion of life. Mm. You know, Earth is not necessarily one solid, it's like this. Earth is the creation of our dreaming. And it's that, so when it's that endless motion of life that you see all around you, we're endlessly creating Earth as well.
Exactly, because all our ancestors who dreamt the dream of life, that sensed it, is what we are experiencing, but it's the nonsense that's disconnecting it from us. So
everything has a purpose.
Yeah, so we suspect that the geocentric model is more true, and that Earth is not just the land we stand on; the whole of creation is what we are. Because we got to see the big picture to define. Because when we sense the big picture, we are there. Who we are is there. So we're not just Arthur. We are now the tree and the butterfly and the insect and the fish and we are, you know. And what you're sensing is your direct experience of what it is to be a man.
Listen, hold on, this morning I was out with Mar and I was making videos and I was packing my stuff and I was leaving, and suddenly there was a butterfly flying over my head and he kept being around me. And I said, Mar, look, I'm just going to put my hand out. I'm going to think really of the butterfly to land on my hand. And he can ask Mar, the butterfly landed right on my hand and he stayed there for about 5 minutes.
That's because your senses, your purity of intention, exactly. And you have no doubt. You've got no doubt in your magnificence. Exactly. And we are the custodians, because see, we are the only first party to the dream of life. There is no one else. So all the lies are done through first party man in third party. So aliens, reptilian shapeshifters, and greys and all that, it's all man-made. And even all the biology is man-made. All the reptilians we created out of these secret laboratories are man-made. All the UFO crafts that were even in the Second World War are man-made. And all the evolution of all these lies is man-made. We're the only first party. But if we don't wake up and see how man is tricking man, how brothers are turning against brothers, how sisters are turning against sisters, how we're all lying to each other, and how we're falling into the stage act of this illusion, of this matrix, we won't see how we've been manipulated. Because, we say to people all the time, bring forward an experience without man being a party to that experience.
That's what I realized, that I was manipulated in that whole thing, like you said.
You can't. And this is what we're trying to say to Ali and Eric and Divine and all the others. You can't. Because we are the only first party. So if we come with the lie and we project the storytelling and then we seduce others into it, it's still a man creating it. And it's still a man who creates the nonsense that trains that man to create another man who's a child to be raised up in that nonsense, who then creates a child, and through the generations we have done down zombies in the image of their stupid state, which is what Ali writes when he says, we're just mortals in a linear world, and that, da-da-da, because he only sees the shit in his head, and he hasn't been able to step outside the system of this box to realize we're something even more magnificent than this. Now, when more of us work together in creating Kindom, because the remedy of Kindom that you'll see with these garden videos, food forests, the things we're doing, because that's our primary work. Our biggest work is the remedy, not all this shit. So when I finish this, I'm back outside. I'm out working, building stuff, because we have to create our freedom out of this. We've got to build our freedom to get out of the system so we're not reliant on its services anymore. I don't need it. I don't need its bloody supermarkets and all that. We've got to get to the point we can live without it, without its electricity, without its refrigeration and all this stuff. So we've got to get ourselves back to the true Garden of Eden, where our body had everything it needed, and our consciousness was everything. So meaning we've got to give up the prosthetics of all the walking sticks that becomes electricity, and all the mobile phones, these things that we use, all these lies that we use. Our consciousness can talk to each other right now, but we doubt it.
It was interesting that what you just said about the butterfly, because a few years ago we had a friend come and he said, I'll let Arthur out. He said, the other day I went to the beach and I sat down and I tried to talk to the sea, but nothing happened. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then it was only after he was gone and I was thinking about this and I thought, well, of course he got nothing. The sea doesn't talk. You can't talk to the sea. You've got to sense the sea. Just like you with that butterfly, and I have the experience. We got 2 dogs. I have the experience with one of them. She can be a bit nervy, and she runs around. And I suddenly occurred to me a couple of years ago that I realised that sometimes she'd run up to me a little bit nervy, and a picture would actually form in my head. And that was actually what she was trying to communicate. It might have been that the water bowl was empty, or that she wanted me to put her to bed because it was nighttime, or that. But this has probably been happening ever since I get it. But it was only took me a couple of years ago that I suddenly actually became aware of my senses from her, rather than the thought in my head, oh, there's the dog. What does she want now? I wonder what she wants. Oh, God, look at her. Whereas, in fact, the message was loud and clear in my head already. I was just ignoring it, and as soon as I realized, wow, that's how you do it. It's the pictures that come into your brains. It's those images that's telling you all about nature and what you're sensing. If you can push aside the words that are running around your head and the thoughts that are actually blocking all of that, it's that real experience. And that's the same with you with the butterfly, right? You get an image, you put the image, the butterfly in your hand, and the butterfly felt you and responded to you,
And he stayed on my head for about 5 minutes. I was walking up the park, and he was on my head.
Wow.
We're all custodians, you know, caretakers, stewards in the true sense of the dream of life, because we're the only first party. It is a living dream. But one of our brothers put shit in our heads because of what happened. Maybe we talk about that in another video, another thing. But you know how we sense this. But the thing is, this is unless we recognize the sense and get back to our original dreams, we don't even have a soul, because our original dreams that we create is our soul, and no one can create a soul for you because it's unique and original to each of us. We're gifted with the life for that soul to become out of it. You know, you talk about rise and shine. We create a child, and we give them the whole of the dream of life for them to create their soul, and that soul rises and shines and expands, and that's again this. You know, the expansion of man's consciousness. If you look at this, you get the darkness of all this, just giving you a sense. We are exploding. The dream of life is an explosion of consciousness given our willpower with intent to create the dream of life. You know, going back to the first video and touch on the second one as well. Imagine the dream of life is a bubble in your hand. You know, the creator's holding the bubble. And then the creator comes in to the dream of life and explodes everything to give everything purpose. So now the cow walks and lives and breathes because it's been given life. That life is what we are. In that way, we are gods, because we're gifted with the power of creation. So instead of being co-creators of the dream of life and creating living things, we're creating dead things because of the constructs that put us into the stage of the system through all the generations of enslavement, which is all their history books going back for all their recorded Freemasonic ages, of all the civilizations of Egypt and all that shit, and all the methods of the alchemy using magic mushrooms and all the psychedelia stuff and all the other horrific stuff that gets into homophobia and pedophilia and bestiality and sodomy and all these other things that go on. You know, a man, as far as I'm concerned, a man's penis is not meant to be up another man's ass. It's not meant to be there. It's not a natural thing. You know, it's the same when you're smoking dope. You don't see monkeys drying marijuana and rolling a joint and sitting there smoking it. You don't see that in nature. You don't see bongs being made by nature and we're sitting around smoking a bong, right? So it shows you clearly that marijuana is something that our body will tell us through our senses to eat or smell, not to smoke it.
Yeah.
You know, or smell it, or touch it, see it. So, you know, there's many things like this. And so we are so compromised because of the programming in us, going back so long. I mean, I smoke dope. I don't regret it. I mean, I do and I don't. But, you know, I work hard with my children. Sometimes you don't need to do it. You've got nothing to learn from it. And I do what I can to show them out there just what's so important. So they may think that their relation to nature is so inspiring that they don't need to be sucked into wanting to go and smoke a joint anymore or drop acid or LSD or anything else, right? So we spent many years detoxing. We worked hard on our detoxing. We even went to the Church of Scientology to use their detoxing program back in the late 1990s to try to, because at the time we were still, you know, going through our waking up. They tried to convert us and all that. We avoided all that. In fact, we bloody had them running in the air because, you know, I turned it around on them. But the point is that the detox program was pretty phenomenal. That's another thing we could talk about in another video. It's not, they don't have the only one, but we're getting all that distortion out of our fatty cells, getting it out from our tissues, getting it out. So slowly, you know, like we're healing and healing and healing. So, and then our body gets the chance to have its true peace, and our true shape starts to come out. Our true form appears. So this man's fat, you know. And I say to people, you know, oh, look, I've been on the internet for a long time. I'm not a victim. It's just the way it is. I just gave up running and all the things I've been doing. I gave all my waking life to this, so I got fat, you know. So, but I say to people, look, if a fat Greek wog like me can do what I'm doing, fucking anyone can do it. Anyone can do it.
For sure. I am overweight too, don't worry.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if we can do it in this state, God knows how things, when I say God knows, we're talking just, you know, so to speak stuff, but we're capable of the most extraordinary things, but we've got to get our peace and calm back. Our peace and calm is where we create our soul. Our soul, the furnace of our consciousness, where's that?
That one.
The furnace of our consciousness, our soul explodes when we use our senses. When we explode our consciousness by direct sensory experience with nature, our soul rises and shines and expands. And the whole of the dream of life is this explosion too, you see. And I think everything is in that image. So I think what we're doing here is that, and this is something, like you see, like they talk about the sun in this picture, right? To me, that's man's love for the dream of life, the light coming back. We create the light and it comes back to us. If man gave up the dream of life and no longer loved the dream of life, right, this sun will fade away and be no more. The whole of the dream of life will die. Everything will collapse and disappear, right? This whole thing will end with everything in it because we gave it up. Because we are the only first party. We hold the whole of the dream of life. Our consciousness is this, the whole thing. But it's not lineal. And if man wants to journey through the dream of life, they keep pushing out, expanding the consciousness of their senses. They'll never find an end, because there never was a beginning. So if you look at Star Trek and all these movies of journeying through the frontiers of space, when we do it through sense, we're expanding the consciousness of the dream of life. Another way to look at it, when man created man, another man was now breathing the air of the original man and adding more air, adding more water to the dream of life. So the earth was expanding, and every breath was adding. So two men are now adding more water, and another man, and another man. So all together breathing the original breath of the original man, and all of them are original man, and they're adding more water, so it's expanding. Again, it's this. And as we dream, we create everything to our dream, you see. And I think the moon is an illusion. To me, the moon is the lie of the grand architect who conceived the dream and the dream of life, and all those who worked it created this moon. The moon wasn't there before. So that's just my opinion. I can't prove this to you. The moon is going back to the first video, the dark side of the moon and the reflection. It's just that the reflection is everyone in third party claiming what they believe to be true and projecting that illumination, because we're illuminating another man's image, you see. But the moon doesn't have its own light, which shows you that the moon is a lie, because it's really dark. The moon's reflecting. So when we say daffodil is yellow, we are illuminating the idea that another man put that in that picture in our head. That is the illumination of the moon.
And it's reflecting what kind of light?
It's reflecting in our image, in the dream of life. We're creating it because we dreamed that. And if we attach to the belief systems, that's what we create. And everything of the dream of life is this. But there's a living dream that's true, and then there's one that's fake. So we have this conflict. So again, I can't prove this to you. It's just making sense of everything. When we really wake up and we get out of the nonsense, we're no longer inside here, because who we are is not in here. Our dream is not in here. Now, the lie's only here. All the shit in your head is not you. That's not your soul. It's to stop you. It's there to kill you and destroy you. Every thought in your head. Who you are is the bird. It's the mountain. It's everything alive around you. That's who you are. That's who we are. In that way, we are the full responsibility of God. We are the full liability of God, because we're answerable to everything that we dream. All the destruction is caused by man. All the creation is caused by man, because there is no one. No one can bring forward God in first party and say, this is God. Hi, God, let's hear it from you, the God in the Bible, the God in any religion or any construct. Bring forward God. When people come knocking on our door and they say, look, we've got the living word of God, and they come as Jehovah Witnesses or whatever, and they say, we have the living word of God. I say, well, have you? So I get the megaphone out on the street and I go, hello, God! Hello, God! Please come forward. Is it true what Bill and Judy are telling us? Is this your living word? I don't want to hear from them. I want to hear from you. And I say to Bill and Judy, where's this God that you claim is the living word? Where is this God? Why is this God invisible? I mean, this God provides you the air to breathe, doesn't it? Do you have to jump 10 foot across the room to grab your next breath? Is the sun not already shining? Isn't this God you really claim is the living one already alive? Are we not it? We are not part of it? Because God means full responsibility for everything we think, feel, and do. That's what Jesus means. Full responsibility for everything we think, feel, and do. That's what Buddha is. That's what consciousness means. Full responsibility. No passing the buck. Don't blame it on the greys and the reptilian shapeshifters. Don't blame it on the electrician or those who come in and create all this technology, because they're all working together behind the scenes and manipulate with nanobot technology and fuck with your head and put implants in you and give you Morgellons disease and all this stuff. Because this is trauma. We actually fall into this state. We give our power away to this stuff. And if we rise and shine their light, we make them into our false idol gods. And we've done it.
That's what I say all the time. I go online to release my trauma, because if I keep that inside, I'll go fucking crazy. It's impossible that I keep that inside. I have to go in front of that camera and empty it out.
Exactly. So when they come knocking on the door with ABC 1, 2, 3, you call out, "Hello ABC, hello 1, 2, 3, hello Macquarie Bank, hello Supreme Court, hello Flat Earth, please come forward. Don't bring me a third-party imposter. I want direct sensory experience. I want to hear directly from the source." Right? That's the moon reflecting. Every man who's lying, who's committing fraud, is that reflection, that illumination. All the Satanists, all these occultists, they believe in all the bullshit in their religions, that they're going to create an afterworld, be given a new dimension, a new universe where they will become masters of their own world. But they don't see the psych programming that is manipulated, because their whole life is set to the background of the system. All the ABC 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter if they speak another language or they speak in many tongues. It's irrelevant. It's the same shit. And they are the ones creating it and trying to seduce all of man to commit suicide with them, because they truly are dying. It is a death cult. Everything to do with the system is of a death cult. It's occultic. It is death to man. It's death to your soul. So these thoughts in your head is the sign of their effects on you. Every thought in your head is that. And if you don't rat it out, you're gone. Right? And we say to people, if you can breathe, you can live. You're better than all the shit they put in your head. You can ignore it all, even if you've lost your 2 legs and your 2 arms and just got your head and your body, and you can just somehow manage to eat, someone feeds you. You can still dream a unique dream. And in fact,
yeah, and it's weird. Before you said something about marijuana, and you said it's not made to be smoked; it's more made to be eaten. And I agree with you. But since I realize more and more and more, and I reconnect more and more to who I am, I smoke less and less.
Exactly. You'll give it all up eventually, because you realize.
I know I will. I know I will. That's the thing. That's the thing. I know I will stop smoking weed one day, because now I'm reconnecting so much that I want to feel it. I want to sense it. I don't want to be stoned and not sense it properly. I want to sense the experience directly. And if I'm stoned, it's not the same thing.
You start sensing the harm you're doing to your body, but that's why I think a lot of people who do start waking up, automatically they start looking after their bodies better and things like that, because you can sense the harm more. As you become more aware of the harm, you become more aware of also the harm you do to yourself.
So this is also the lie. That's how the lie works too. It's a reflection. So the grand architect of all lying used reality to create a carbon copy of an illusion and make it out as if it was true. So, the shadow, we have a shadow, right, that we walk around with. The thing is that the sun casts no shadow, right? There is no shadow behind the sun. There never has been. You'll never find a shadow. The sun doesn't cast a shadow. And the thing is, our soul has no shadow, because they're unique dreams to us. Our light of our soul is there and nothing else. But when we accept another man's explanation, we have been eclipsed. And that eclipse is the dark side of the moon. That is the third party that's become man, between man and nature, between man's living nature, man's living soul. That dark side of the moon is the object that eclipses the sun, right? It gives the illusion that we are in darkness. But the fact is, while we believe in the Easter Bunny and Tooth Fairy, while we believe in ABC 1, 2, 3, while we believe in ISIS and all their occults and astrology and numerology and every bloody bullshit they've ever come up with, that is the eclipse. It is the shadow of the lie that covers us. That eclipse is death to man's soul. When we stop lying, the moon will no longer exist. Collectively, when man gives it all up, the moon will be gone and the sun will never be eclipsed again. because man's soul will never be offered the darkness, because it's the darkness is an illusion. It doesn't exist. There is no darkness. I mean, hello darkness, hello fantasy, please come forward. Let's hear it from you. Where are you? Fantasy. We act in first party for the darkness. We act in first party for the reptilian shapeshifters, right? But we're committing fraud, because it's like when people say Arthur hates. Someone's trying to kidnap us, or kidnap Arthur, to impersonate Arthur. And I confront them. This is an example of this. We'll find this one.
Yeah,
next pages. I'll read this. We'll read this out.
Not all of it.
Yeah, we'll just read that little bit. It's okay. No, it's just for me. It's how.
Yeah, here it starts.
Yeah, it starts here. Here it is. Here.
There.
Some guy comes on our wall the other day, and you'll find it, and he says his name is Ruffy. He posts Matthew 15:18. But the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these defile them. Right? So what he's saying is, when I swear and I say they're a cunt or a prick, he's saying I'm defiling. Right? Now, he's already impersonating me. He knows my intention. He's claiming to know what my character is. So he's already kidnapped me. He's performing black magic, this guy. He's a Satanist. He doesn't realize it. He's now an expert commentator. He's now acting as an authority of God, claiming he has the highest standing. Right? So that's why I write back to him. I say to him,
Next page.
it is all in the intent, Ruffy. And it seems you don't sense the intent of another man. You just project the inculcation you believe in, are attached to, and are at the effect of, none of which is proof of fact. Are you claiming to be this man's heart, life, consciousness, soul, etc., this man's intent? If not, then why are you trying to hijack this man's character, this man's life, so you can impersonate this man's life, making it out that the claims you have made are coming from this man? You're making it out that what you're saying about Matthew is coming from me, when you made it up and you tried to put it onto me, right? When in fact you've made it all up, right? Why do you covet another man, a stranger you have never lived with or had any private intimate dealings with? How do you know us? You've never lived with us. How would you know where we're coming from? Why this man swears? From where did you get the permission to act as a third party representative, expert commentator of this man? Bring forward the evidence that allowed you to kidnap this man's character so you can impersonate this man, right? This is what Ali does too. Do you love committing fraud, slander, and lies because this is what you're really doing here, Ruffy? Are you claiming exclusivity and privileges? Do you somehow think that the Bible gives you the right to come and defile another man? Because you are the one defiling another man, because you are claiming that what you're putting on this man makes me have to be in this image that you put on me, right? This is black magic. This is what Satanists do. That's the eclipse of the moon. This is the illumination of the moon. He's illuminating me. He's putting his light onto me, making out that this light he's saying is my light, that I'm the one creating this light.
And there's so many people acting like this.
It's everywhere. The whole system is full of this, right?
Yeah.
And I said to him, do you come with exemptions? Are you of a higher standing than another man? Are you God, Ruffy, in that way? This man describing truth as it really is not defiling. There is no emotional attachment in the outcome, no lying, no claim of hatred with another man. This man is instead sensing the reality truth of another man's intention or motive, the lying, the scheming, the deceit, the intent to do harm to others, the nefarious behavior, etc., right? This man is providing full disclosure, bringing impure intentions into the light of truth for all to see. This man prefers the light of full responsibility, full disclosure, instead of leaving liars and their methods of deception in the dark, of limited responsibility, where many amongst us are still vulnerable to being manipulated by those voracious liars. Because they're in the darkness, they're lost in the illumination, they can't see the big picture of flat earth. They can't see what's going on, right?
I know how it feels.
Yeah, this is nearly finished. This man loves the innocence of all of man and will confront any man fallen to crooked ways and expose that for what it really is. Do you want this man to love and serve all of man, to straighten the crooked path and make whole what has been shattered, right? Do you have a problem with shit being shit, as it really is, right? And directly addressing the man creating that shit, the lie? Or do you prefer that we package horrific shit as a healthy piece of chocolate wrapped in a glistening wrapper, right? So, look, we can go and go on about this, right? You can go and find this in the Facebook wall, and I'll post this in the Satanic Craft of Inculcation and Practice. We encourage everyone, find that post and read it all. Sit there and use scrutiny. Put everything up to the test of scrutiny. Out the door, out the door, out the door, out the door. Watch the Dream of Life, the Dancing with Magic videos, the Dancing with Magic bracket lies videos. There's 4 of them. Watch the Image Power video.
But we have come to a state that we're so disconnected that we don't sense the purpose of the things around us. This is the big problem. We don't sense the purpose of anything we have around us, and we just destroy it. But everything has a purpose. Me, you, everything is alive. So once we reconnect to our true nature, we'll start feeling the stuff around us and not destroy it. But now we're really, really in a bad place, and we should really rise and shine, like I say all the time, because come on, the humanity has gone mad. The world has gone mad. It's because we're performing all this stuff. Also, they don't have to come and knock at your door and they give you a thing to brainwash you. You go buy it at the store, and you're like, it's fucking crazy. It's madness. It's pure madness. That's what I was telling my son today. Said, Sam, it's pure evil madness. You look at it, it's like people don't even see it. They feed their kids so much crap, and they don't even see it.
Exactly.
They think they're doing good.
The thing is, the Satanic Craft of Inculcation and Practice contains an affidavit that Fiona created that she's using in ACAT and in the Supreme Court. But if you read the 3 documents, because I put them all together, they're all there, and you can download it. It shows you how we address these people in court, how we address it, because they are trying to impersonate Fiona under the claims of defamation. And you'll see how this deception works. And what we do, we don't just sit there and just react to them. We go to them and give them full disclosure. We come and give them the big picture of what they're doing, right? So they've got nowhere to hide. Now, if they want to come out in the open and come after, they said 4 weeks after the last hearing that they're going to make a decision on Fiona, because she's still in the system under the name, right? And it's been now 6 weeks, or where are we, 7 weeks?
8 weeks.
8 weeks now, so we've heard nothing for more than 4 weeks now. So the point is this: if you read it, the dynamite. Now, we mean what we say. Well, this man means if they want to go ahead and push this, the curse comes upon their own children, upon them, and upon everyone who's a beneficiary of this lie. And there's no restriction on where it goes. The curse will be processed by all of them, because that's what we dream for them. We let them have the experience that they dreamed for. Let them experience the outcomes. Why should we take it on? Let them have it. It's their dream, right? See,
but
when we wake up, we're like those Christians in the Colosseum with the lions, not in the way they described it. They can kill us. We don't die. We don't die. Only those who in the lie die and never have a life will never be able to continue on, because that reflection of the moon, the illumination, is the fake persona. And if that's all you are, you're a phantom, you're an apparition. If everything you know is only what you know in your head, you will die like that, brother, sister. You die like this. You're gone, no matter what you think. And if you don't fix it now in this life, you're gone. So we give it back to them. Let them have it. We're not scared of death. This man's not scared of their death. They can do what they like if they want to. They've got free will. Let them have that experience. Let them use their free will. Stop reacting to their will. You take responsibility and you act the way you need to act, and don't be like them. Don't walk like them. Don't think like them. Don't live like them. Change the way we are. We're not victims.
Exactly.
You can do it in the most extreme circumstances. You'll see this in our work since 2005. Inspired, everything has been done to us. Sure, we're using the system to get out, but we don't live for this stuff. This is all going in this life. It's a gradual transition of building the bridge, right? But it's a bridge of a lot of brothers and sisters walking together as a mass exodus out of the system in this life, co-creating a kingdom paradise. It all happens here and now. It's not a journey to kingdom. We just let go of all the lies, allow kingdom to expand around us. And then we are the living sanctuary. We will provide protection to everyone who wants to escape this bullshit. right?
Maybe it's maybe a sorry. It's maybe a reason why they keep us dreaming only at night, you know, so we don't dream the dream of life. They keep us in a construct also that dream only happen at night. Me, it was not even on my mind to live my dream until someone came and say with me and say, hey, live your dream, do something with your life. Even before that, I wasn't even, they killed my soul, they stole my mind so freaking much that it took 40 years for me to and again, at 40, why did it happen at 40? I don't know. It's a sacred number. But the worst is my door number is 40 also. This is what all the synchronicity and all that. I'm like,
illusion. It's all an illusion, man. You're just creating it as a reference point for your own way out of this mess. But the thing is this, is that there is no truth that way, right? I mean, who we are is who we are. And if we don't let that shine, we're gone. And the thing is, we're supposed to create our living dream. And the living dream is our living soul, which comes from our direct experience with nature, with no one in our head. That's the only thing. So we've got to stop creating prisons for others to enter into. This includes our work. We don't want anyone to believe what we're saying. We don't want you. We have people coming here who are brilliant in our work for the last 11 years. Brilliant. And then they're just copycats.
You know, someone has to pay reparation for our souls. This is the thing here. Someone has to pay reparation. Those Babylonian people have to go down for sure. The system has to.
It dies when we stop giving it our energy.
Yeah.
We don't do the punishing. They're already punishing themselves. While we lived the lie, we were punishing ourselves. When we wake up, we stop punishing. We don't blame anyone anymore. We have no enemies. There is no one to hate. It's just simply seeing the life for what it is, confronting people. Confrontation is one of the virtues of love. When your intention is pure and sincere to confront, all you're doing is removing the black that was mixed in with the white and getting it out of there. So everything becomes pure white again, as another linear analogy. That's all it is. It's all in the intent. So we are each responsible. So we see that life's a gift on a do-no-harm path. So we create abundance. When we create a food forest, people come and they can eat from it. We don't want them to give us money. We don't want to come to you for 6 months later because we gave you a box or whatever. That look, we gave it to you. Can you please do this for us now? It's unconditional. It's in the moment. Gifting, not the gifting that Frederick Maloof and all these other people are pushing, which is conditional acceptance, which is the system and other guys. It's a natural gifting. It comes from the inspiration of your soul. It's not defined by let's gift. You just are. It's like, I have to breathe. I breathe out. No one can tell you to breathe out. You breathe out.
Because also when you gift from your heart, when you give something from your heart,
it's real.
Nothing is taken from you because it's the postman.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, the postman's knocking on the door.
The system is knocking on our door.
The system is knocking on the door.
But when you give freely, you can't be hurt by anyone because it's free. You've given it freely, so you can't later go, oh, but I gave you this and I gave you that, and then you didn't do anything. If I give something freely, I give something to them, and they can take it away and they can do whatever they like with it. And I don't own that. It's not that selfish. Oh, well, I've done this and I need that, so now I need recognition from that, and I need something from you. That is not giving freely from the heart, and that's what we have to get back to you. You know, if I've got extra apples in my orchard, somebody come take them, please. You know, I don't need them. Just take them, and I don't need anything in return.
Fiona, do you think we should make the truth socially acceptable, or just put it in face of people? Well, like, what's your opinion on that?
Really interesting, because I've been looking at this comment that another comment that Ali made, and trying to slip it in somewhere. He says, as for debating Arthur, it would be unwise. He has clearly demonstrated he is a self-righteous megalomaniac who uses taunts as means to engage others. But this is the bit. It would turn into a fist fight, and I would have to get dirty and raw. Well, there's two things here. Arthur, stop it. Two things here. One, he's deciding how it's going to be. He's already decided that's the way it's got to be. But, you know, really, I would have to get dirty and raw. So what? Let's get dirty and raw if that's what we have to do to get through the lies and get to the truth. Does it, you know, it doesn't really matter. Let's get dirty and raw. Let's just leave no stone unturned until we've got there, and not worry about you know, the political correctness and that we've all got to engage respectfully with each other, and, you know, and all this sort of stuff. If everyone says, right, this is not a personal thing, no one's attacking anybody, let's get to it and work through and shift out all the bad stuff.
Which is impossible to do when people attach the inculcation and they believe that that belief that they believe is who they are. And if they keep projecting that, mate, they're gone. Now, the thing is that, you know, I come in with a baseball bat and they call that mud racking. Like, all I'm doing is challenging them, and I intensify my intent on them to raise up, to see if we can shatter the lie, try and unhinge the inculcation from them, so they can. It's like shaking an apple tree and letting all the rotted apples drop. You know, that's what this man's intent is. I'm not here to hurt the man. The man's already damaged. I'm not causing any damage. I'm trying to help the man heal if he wants to, because that man is running around promoting lies and sucking others into the lies. So all the children that come who fall into the lies of this man who propels lie, which is all of us who've been lying, we're responsible. So we have to confront. So every single one of us got to confront everything until there is no lie in our head anymore. Because it's from there that we begin to have paradise then blossom. Because when we take responsibility, we don't rely on this anymore. We don't rely on all this shit that of all the inculcation, right? I mean, this came in the mail. Bank statement, oh my God, I got to run to this bank statement. This is power, you know, power. Oh my God, Fiona, you know, you have to. There's an authority here. There's a right here. You're going to perform a ritual, you know. And here's the local council giving us the Wingecarribee News. This is the Wingecarribee Council, right? There's all good men and women in there. You know, this is the Wingecarribee News. They're going to give us all the world of the system. How grandma, grandpa, let's go inside. You go inside us, you'll find happy people with smiling faces. Look, all getting rewards. All the wonderful stories of all, you know, what they do in the local gardens and local community and Rotary. All these wonderful things. This is great, you know. All these people, they're all slaves in the system, and they don't see just how dependent they are on the slave. Look, we've got Alice down there, I think, or someone's down there appearing out of nowhere. You know, we've got a bit of Alice there. You know,
oh my.
This is chiller time. You know, so you know what I'm getting at is that we love our fairy tales so much. We just love it so much. You know, we're all nice people. We're all good people, and we're killing each other. And we cling to the inculcation. We love the illumination of this lie so much that we actually destroy each other while we're smiling at each other. You know, we're killing each other as slaves, and because everyone in the system, everyone in Flat Earth is a slave. You cannot be in the Flat Earth movement without being a slave. You still have contracts with the system somehow. You're still reliant on the system. And that's how we see how the site programs work.
If you don't recognize what belief is holding you hostage, how do you want to be free of them? Like, you have to recognize. Me, I knew I was hostage of something. I didn't know what. I'm starting to put the finger on it. That's what I made a video about. I'm starting to put the finger on it now, what happened to me. But I'm willing to do that introspection of knowing what happened to me. A lot of people don't want to know that. They just look for truth out. No, I want to know the truth inside my heart. I want to feel it. I want to feel, first of all, who I am. And after that, everything will be very clear because it's out there.
You have to live it.
You have to live
because you got to be it, live it. You cannot think it. You're thinking it is a lie.
Yeah. Stop intellectualizing and feel it with your heart.
Which means you're a creator. You're creating that lie. You can't sit around and talk about it. We're doing it. So even though we sit and do these interviews, the truth is, get out. Get out of here. Get out of Babylon. Get out of this baby long. Stop being a ward of the state, living under the thumb of, we'll provide you. We'll provide you with the commerce. We'll provide you the next one is the water bill. Next one is the electricity bill. Next one's the gas bill. Next one is, you know, you have to vote. You know, because Fiona's in the system. I have to vote. She's got to vote. So she, you know, she's totally caught out. This man has no contracts in the system, man. Nothing. But I'm still compromised, deeply compromised, because my wife and all my children are compromised. Yeah. But I'm not tied to this stuff. Nothing comes to me anymore. Nothing. I didn't write to anybody. I didn't ask anyone to fix it. I just dropped it. That's what a man does. A man who writes to another man is a slave. Please fix my slavery conditions. Please improve. Please provide me with my rights. I'm telling you, leave me alone. The fact you're even writing to someone, you're acknowledging them that they have some power in your life. Why are you even doing it? Anyone who wants to be a true free man doesn't write to anybody. You start living it. Start being it. Take responsibility and start creating it, and find other brothers and sisters who want to start living a bit. And that's how you pull out a baby long. You don't
start governing your own shit. You know, stop. Yeah.
I'm conscious.
Well, and obviously then the first thing you got to do, and I think this is where a lot of people get stuck, is that you have got to be prepared to work very hard. If you want to make your life independent from the system, you got to start working hard. You got to be prepared to get out in the garden, start growing food, start working out how you can get water happening in your garden, start working out how you can start weaning out all the stuff that you need, the power, the electricity, the gas, all that sort of thing, transport in the end. You've got to be prepared to let all of that go, because all of that comes from the system. And while you hang on to bits of this, you're still hanging on to the system. So it really is, you've got to be prepared to work very hard, many hours every day, creating that freedom. And if you don't want to, there is no freedom.
Yeah, you can't build real relationships if you're real. You see, unless you become real and you're working with your sense, you can't build. Look, we have people who come in, some are still here, and they're so deeply, deeply damaged, and they still believe in the meddling that's been done to them, where people have put nanobot technology into them, who put devices into their eyes and have done things and all kinds of stuff. And I say to them, well, you can breathe, can't you? Well, if you can breathe, you can live. You're more powerful than what they've done to you. You have to learn to let it all go, because if you let it go and expand, you know, the rise and shine you talk about, when you expand your true consciousness, your body will dissolve. Everything's not meant to be there. Everything is alien to you will be gone. Your body will shit it out, diarrhea it out, vomit out, sweat it out. It'll just drop out. It'll rust and deteriorate, dissolve it. You can direct even microbes or whatever you want to call it in your body to dissolve things. You're more powerful than you realize.
Oh, yeah, that's what I always say. We're powerful beyond measure, but that's what we're afraid, is to know how powerful we are. But
the truth of it, they need us to create the system. That shows you how powerful we are.
Oh, no,
but
it's crazy.
Create the system without us building it for them.
That's
the proof of everything. Wake up. Stop being their fucking slave. Get out of Babylon. Get out
Babylon, we're coming for you. That's what it is.
Walk away. They're not our enemy. These people are lost. They're not an enemy. They need a living example of what it is to be real. They don't know what it is. All those lost to the darkness need the light for them to return to. If we don't create the light and be the light, there is no light for those lost to darkness to return to.
Exactly.
We are responsible for everything. So we're not leaders in that way. We're not messiahs and saviors. We're not better than anyone. We are just life. Live and be responsible. So we don't own anything. And that's how
you gotta love life. Love life.
And we say to people, if you want to come and create a kingdom with us, come, you're welcome. You want to come and heal, you're welcome. But you'll be busy with a shovel in your hand. You're going to be working. You're not going to be sitting around talking. We're not talking. We're creating. Until you learn to let go, 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 let go. That's what we're doing. Let go. On the phone, Arthur rings me up. Please rescue me from this bank robbery. Arthur, please rescue me from this situation. Arthur, please rescue me from the mess I've caused myself where the police want to put me in jail. It goes on and on. Like, seriously, I get these phone calls constantly. And most people think they're Superman until they get themselves in deep water and they realize the trauma is so powerful they don't know how to get out. They ring me up. It's the last port of call. And I say, what a fucking idiot. I tell you, you're a fucking idiot. Why'd you put yourself in a mess like that? If you can't stand on your feet, why would you even do it? You know, if you don't know, and then I have to sit down and explain the big picture again. And then I said, people ring me up and say, Arthur, I've got a speeding fine, I've got a parking fine. Pay it. Give it to Caesar. Get out of there. Don't waste your time on it. Why do you want to invite them into your life and into your children, into your family and everyone else? Why do you want to put you on their radar? Why do you need to? Just don't break their law. Don't speed. Don't park illegally. Don't break their laws. Give everything to Caesar. Focus your life on your real life. Don't be distracted. Don't create more fires that keep you distracted, having to put them out. Right? So you take everything from Caesar you possibly can, give to Caesar what his cut is, you take the rest of everyone else and build a kingdom.
That's it. That's it.
Wake up and live.
Wake up and live.
They have trusts and foundations, right? They do it to hide the secret. You don't need trust and foundation. Your true trust and foundation is your brothers and sisters around you that create community, not the fiction of a trust, a piece of paper that relies on them to give you authority. People ask me, what do we have to do to get a private trust, to get a foundation? I say, you do nothing because it's bullshit. There isn't one. You're asking
So-
them
And
to
there's no
provide,
security in it
who you're
either.
asking to uphold the law for you to have your private trust. I mean, it wasn't pieces of paper, right? It wasn't all these pieces of paper that invaded the lands and decimated all the tribes. And it wasn't what was written on the pieces of paper that decimated all the tribes. And yet people still believe there's something on the pieces of paper that's going to rescue them. There's something we do in this inculcation process that we're going to be rescued from this shit. It doesn't work. You're relying on a fucking slave system full of slave masters. And you're writing to these people, they're laughing at you. They're sipping cognac on their comfy leather sofas, spitting it into their roaring fires, laughing their fucking heads off at you because you still believe. You don't see the bluff. You can't get past the deception of the trickery.
So I said, if they make fun of us, we're the cause. If they make fun of us, we don't wake up. We don't fuck up.
You make fun of us. They just gave us the offer and we took it and we ran with it stupidly. There is no remedy in the system. You'll never find one. It does not exist.
No.
The fantasy of the system is that. It's a fantasy. How can the fantasy fix the living, the problems of the living? How can fantasy resolve reality? How can illusion solve reality? I mean, only the living can fix the problems of the living, but you've got to be in the light of the living to fix it. And if you're relying on the shit in your head, you're gone in fantasy. The fantasy can't fix it. And if you don't step back and see the big picture, you are a slave in the system all the while you believe you're a Christian or a flat earther because you're a fanatic in the system where it operates in the moon because you're still in the mental asylum. Eric Dubai offers you a mental asylum and it's called flat earth.
That's not it.
No, I'm talking about the real picture.
Okay. That's the flat one.
You know, no, it's sort of isn't, it isn't. Yeah.
Or that one.
The point is, you know, who we are is so much more magnificent. And if we don't open up our consciousness, right, and we go back, get out of your head, everything out of your head, because then you'll open up to everything more. Because then the more you allow in of the truth, the more you become it. It's already there. Yeah. You don't need someone to define it for you, right? So there is no remedy in the system. All the Freeman sovereignty movement is an intel operation. The Flat Earth movement is an intel operation run by intel operatives. Everything to do with all these people, the false prophets and Pied Pipers, are peddling sire programs for the stupid sheeple. Okay, I'm heading to consciousness, which is the thought in your head, is the dummy. We're sucking the dummy. Spit the fucking dummy out. Get rid of it. Stop being dummies, which we do when we suck on the water of the water council and the electricity and the gas.
I laugh because I was like that, so that's why I laugh. I laugh at how sleeping I was, and
we're all compromised. Together in large groups, we can break away from this and the thing is, don't be scared of your life. When you wake up, there is no death anymore. Yeah, only the life. That's why it's lineal. Only everything lineal is death.
When you embrace life, life embrace you after.
Exactly. One more thing. The dream of life, think of it as a picture, right? And that picture was turned into a puzzle where everything was shattered, and all the lines that breaks up the puzzle is the definitions of our fallen state that makes us this. Because when we can't see the big picture and we're lost in the darkness, we are relying on the reflections or that illumination to define who we are. And that's what we project. And that's everything that is ABC 1, 2, 3, and everything that comes out of it. It's this. Think of a sand pit. Really seriously, take me serious on this. Think of a sand pit, and every grain of sand in that sand pit is a thought made up by another man. And then this man has to kidnap children. Got to kidnap the living, bring them inside the sand pit, and give them a bucket to make sandcastles and shovels and whatever. And the man says, "Here, I'm giving you the whole world. I'm giving you the whole of the world for you to create your life. Go for it." And so that child is raised up by every grain of sand, which is black, and is inside the child's head. And that child then brings its children in there too. And that's all they know. And it's lost inside the matrix of this shit, right? And that sandpit is the alien world. It's not the alien worlds of the Galactic Federation or the Virgins of Andromeda or whatever. It's a lie. It's a sight program. There's none of all this stuff you're seeing, all these soldiers and all these superior soldiers, all this black ops stuff. It's all crap to keep you bamboozled because your head is spinning with the background of ABC in the first instance. And that's what you've got to wake up to. You've got to empty it all out, get back to your sense and make sense of everything. And you can't make sense even listening to me. All I can do is inspire you to recognize the lies for what they are, because that's all we can do. I cannot tell you who you are. We can't tell you what your life is, because I'd be lying if I would do that. I'd commit fraud. So would she if she did this. We don't do that.
It. When you come, I listen to what you say, and then I take everything and I go outside and I make all kinds of video about how we thought, we discuss together, and then I make sense of it. That's how I make sense of things. Like I use scrutiny also. I don't believe every word you tell me. I use scrutiny and I make sense of it with my own sense. Because I don't want someone else's sense to sense reality for me. This is the thing here. And that's what we do. Even with the flat earth, we let other people sense reality for us and define how the sun moves, how the moon moves, how the tides and this and that, like big stuff. They're telling us everything how it works, but suddenly we're going to know the whole truth here. Everybody's going to know the whole truth. Hello.
So this is why we build real communities of brothers and sisters together, not under a dogma or religion.
That's why we come together here.
And that's why we do it. This is why we have this food forest here, and why we're starting the expansion of the Kingdom Dream in a suburb. And if it spreads through the suburbs, great. If it spreads to a bigger piece of land, it spreads. But it's real brothers and sisters who live the dream of light, which is a lot better than sitting there and talking about flat earth and worrying about flat earth. You're not creating a remedy out of the mess.
And you see, I don't ask you, hey, Arthur, tell me how the sun works. No, I'm not going to ask you that. I go outside and I look at it. I can sense it myself. I don't need you.
That's your dream.
That's it. So I'm not going to ask you, hey, Arthur, give me all the answers. I need them. No, I can make sense of it myself. I come here for inspiration. That's what I want. And then
what we do is not only expose the site programs of all these lies, but to show how these distractions work, because all the time we get lost in it, we're not actually creating a living remedy to get us out of the mess. You see, it's like you don't want to be caught with your pants down when the shit hits the fan. You want to be able to practice your true freedom skills, so when the shit hits the fan, you've already got the skills to keep moving forward with. But if you don't practice your true freedom skills, which cannot be educated, you've got to practice living in nature and living how to grow food, and living all these freedom skills, living relationships with each other so we don't turn on against each other. When you have these real freedom skills, these true consciousness skills, it will help you transition out of this hell of Babylon. But if you don't have it, and all you're relying on is Babylon the whole time while you're believing that you're free, but you're conscious, when Babylon goes down, you go with it. It's that ant colony we talked about in the other video. When all the ants go, you go too, because you don't know how to live free, because you haven't dreamt it and lived it. You can't think your way to consciousness. All these people think their way to consciousness, waking up to the local councils providing water in their home, and electricity and the gas and the petrol and the education, the television, internet, the media and the motor cars, the roads and the highways, and they're all fucking lost in the matrix. But hey, I'm conscious. I'm conscious. I'm free. You only got choice as a slave.
Exactly. So guys, thank you very much for being here again. We're going to be here again next week. It was an honor again, an honor every time. Like our vibration really match, and I'm always very comfortable to receive you. I don't have, like, you know, people, because a lot of people came to me and told me stuff. So me, you know, I don't listen to what people say, because I know people talk. So I have to make sense of reality myself, and it's my show, and I do whatever I want here. It's my channel, so I will not listen to other people to tell me what to do here. And listen, I've listened to people all my life tell me what to do. Now it's done, finished, no more. So rise and shine, and we're going to be back. Huh?
Hang on. I want to say one more thing. Ali, Eric, come on, guys. Have a debate with us. What are you scared of? We're just a mum and dad. If you think you're intellectual giants, you got it all worked out, well, you got nothing to worry about if you got the truth. Come on, take us on. Put it to the test of scrutiny. Why are you running around hiding from us? What are you scared of? Come on. We don't have fangs. We don't carry guns or weapons. We're not going to murder you. We're just going to deconstruct. Let's put to the test of scrutiny. Why are you running away from us, boys? Come on.
You can't run away. Bob Marley said that. Bob had a song, you can't run away from yourself.
No.
We're out.
All the best.
Thanks.
All the best, everybody.
Bye.